and this is the first of a series of videos I plan on putting out featuring the top 10 films or worst films of each month. These are all cinema release movies which I saw personally, usually. Most of them I stayed until the end. We will come to that in some of the reviews. I'm going to basically list all 10 in reverse order, starting with the worst, heading to the best. So let's get going. This is starting off with the month of March 2018. At number 10 for the worst films I saw this month is HotBot on Netflix. Came out on March the 1st. It's basically trying to be a version of Weird Science with a little bit of a kind of sex robot that they find, and two teenagers crash into this robot, for lack of a better definition, because the scene jumps from them opening the car door to suddenly they've got the robot back at the house. And it's as though 20 minutes of the film, the most interesting 20 minutes where they apparently crash into this thing and find the robot, it's missing. The entire chunk of the movie is just not there. And then there's other points where, like, the two agents who are the ones responsible for transporting this robot, they're supposed to be investigating where it is, and then instantly, the next scene, they are lying on the floor as though they were knocked out. Also, they were transporting the... It's so confusing and such a mess that I didn't get more than halfway through this film before I hit the fast forward button. And I don't do this often, and especially with cinema releases, I can't do this. But when it's on Netflix, there's a reason usually it goes straight there. And I started skipping ahead, seeing when will something happen, does something happen? Are there any escalating moments? And there are none. And I'd say halfway through the film before I said, I've got other things to watch, and I turned it off. So that comes in at number 10. If I had to give it a rating, it would be 1 out of 10. I think that's a fair rating for this system, actually. 1 out of 10 for that film. So number 9 on this list was A Wrinkle in Time. This is a film that only came out in the UK last week. I saw it last night at the cinema, and what a mind trip this was. Seriously, you would need to be drunk to really appreciate everything that this story is trying to say. It has moments where you're on a kind of like weird fish dragon creature, which looks like a leaf, and you're flying through the air, and then suddenly you're in this moment where the bad guy is the void. You've got this obnoxious 12-year-old child. I think he's 6. He's a 6-year-old child. He's so obnoxious. It's so annoying. You just want to strangle him. And eventually, I mean, spoilers throughout this whole thing, he eventually becomes the bad guy, sort of. He's not. He's a good... It's a mess from beginning to end. I have not read the book. I didn't see the original TV series or the original TV movie, but everything in this film is just bad. Bad in so many ways. Bad at the extreme close-ups up Oprah Winfrey's nose. There's literally no real good things to say about it other than some of the world building it does. But the whole idea of teleportating across the universe just by thinking about it, it's utter nonsense. Every step of the way, it ranks at number 9 on this list because it is one of the worst films I've seen other than HotBot, and I'll have to give that 2 out of 10 in a rating score, simply because some of the special effects in the other planet and the alien world are interesting to watch. I love those moments. And I love Chris Pine in his position. He gave it his best in a stinker of a script. Number 8 was Peter Rabbit. Now, I have a review for this separately. I don't know if I've uploaded it. There was some lighting issues on one of my last reviews, and I'm trying to fix that. But Peter Rabbit is this UK release film about the children's book character going on a murder spree. Yes, Peter Rabbit is this film for children, film for toddlers. The rabbit kills the initial farmer by giving him a heart attack while chasing him, trying to kill him. And then Peter Rabbit electrocutes the next person who comes to replace him, hopefully kills him. They have a party to celebrate these deaths, but the guy lives through being electrocuted, so he decides to poison him by giving him blackberries that he's allergic to. Peter Rabbit is a serial killing monster in this children's film, and they make out as though this is funny, as though children are going to laugh at this, and I was not laughing at all. There are no good jokes in this film. It is mildly entertaining. The special effects, the graphics, the CGI are top notch. That's what ranks it above A Wrinkle in Time in regards to that. And it does have a plot, it does have a story, although the man sending the second man insane by revealing that the rabbits can talk and all this kind of nonsense. It is a weird movie, and it ranks number 7 on my list, and for that reason, on the same scale, I'm going to give it 3 out of 10. The quality animation is what surpasses it to that top moment, and also there are some celebrity voices doing some of the B characters. It's interesting to try and work out, without saying who those celebrities are, can you work them out from listening to the animation voices? Because I didn't realise it initially until I looked up the film on the IMDb and realised, oh, there's some celebrity names that were there. So there's a game to play with that, and that gives it a little bit of something extra. Number 7 is Mute. Mute is a Netflix film. Went straight to Netflix. It's the only place you can find it. And basically it's about this Amish man, I think that's how you say it. He doesn't talk. He could have an operation to fix his voice, but because of his parents' religious upbringing, they refuse to let him have the operation. We're never too sure what his religious beliefs are, but he's respectful of his parents. He then goes on this kind of one-man vendetta looking for this girlfriend, for lack of a better definition. It's an okay film. I wasn't thrilled with it, I'll be honest. I've only actually watched the first half. I keep on meaning to watch the second half, which is a good thing. I've just not really had the ambition to sit down and press play to watch the rest of the film. But that first half was good. Good enough to rank it above those other 3. So that says something when even half a film can get higher than 3 full films. It's got some great world building. It's set in the future. That's going to be a point with me where future films will always win a few extra points. And it's got this look which is very similar to Altered Carbon, which is the other TV series that was released on Netflix. You feel like they're set in the same world, the same environment, but apparently they're different. They look very similar. The style of the city, everything looks identical. So yeah, Mute comes in at number 7. It's an okay film so far. It's not done everything. As I say, I've not been jumping to the screen to watch the end of it. So I can't say it's going to be one of the greatest films in the world, but if you've got access to Netflix, it's one that you might want to check out and at least give it a chance yourself. Number 6. Number 6 is Red Sparrow, starring Jennifer Lawrence. This was a tough film to like, and I've got to be honest, it wouldn't ever be on my rewatch list. I'm not going to buy the DVD or Blu-ray or any of that kind of stuff, and I will, once it's gone through the system, I will be glad. It's better than those other films so far. I watched the whole film from beginning to end, and when the action starts, the action is good. And there are moments where you get this whole La Femme Nikita kind of vibe, and she's being pushed into the situation trying to double cross everybody, and is she a double agent? And there's some scenes where she's basically naked and they're trying to imply some sexual acts and things like this. It makes it interesting viewing, but disturbing at times, and it's perhaps too long for its own good. It was probably 30 minutes longer than it needed to be, and I think, and at the same time, they could have given more time to her training, because she basically becomes a top class agent in under 2 weeks. And really the whole secondary plot, which happens after that, of her going after her uncle and the people she's going after, the spy and the scientists, the people they're after, it takes so long to get anywhere. I mean, there's these whole scenes set in a swimming pool and her trying to sweet talk someone, and then the spy just watching her get on a bus, it's like, or a tram, and it's like, it could have picked up the pace, and for that it was lacking. And I think for the similar reasons, it was lacking in music. It was very Russian in style. The whole style was kind of like Russian cinema, and maybe that's the reason they didn't put any high quality songs in the production. But you feel that because there's no music, or just very jump, bum, bum, just very low tempo tone, you're there falling asleep, and it is a hard time keeping awake. But when the moments do happen, there's enough of them to keep you there till the end. But that's why it doesn't rank any higher than 6 for this month. Number 5 is Annihilation, starring Natalie Portman. This is another one of those films that went straight to Netflix. Now, the world seemed to jump for joy with this film. I watched some of the other reviews, they loved it. I wasn't a fan. I enjoyed it for what it was. I love sci-fi, and I love the whole world building. There's aliens visiting Earth, this dome, and they've got to go through this whole dangerous territory. I loved all that, and I loved the team. I loved a group person going in to try and save the others and save the world for what it was. Everything about it was great until the last 10 minutes. I did not like this Silver Surfer alien person doing what they were doing for no apparent reason. It made no sense. Why would an alien come to Earth and then start attack just one alien, create this dome thing, and then they find this little house in the middle of nowhere and it starts to fight people personally? It's like, what? Give us some answers. Why were all the crocodiles and things getting big? Why were the animals going all giant? And it made no sense why this alien would have done all this and what the alien was trying to achieve from coming to Earth. We don't get any answers. And I know this is a film about aliens, we don't always need answers, but in this case we had this big confrontation at the end, and the alien somewhat was like almost indestructible, so a simple flash grenade, which I think was what they had, wouldn't have been enough to end the film the way it did, in my opinion. And even if it was a full-on live grenade, the alien was still almost indestructible. It made no sense, and I did not like the last 10 minutes, and if anything it ruined the film for me a little. And so while I will watch it again at some point in the future, only because it's on Netflix, it's 2 clicks away to stick it on, and I do like the 80% of the film leading up to that big finish is good, although it's a little bit quiet. Could have done with more music. Again, another problem with the lack of music created a lack of atmosphere. But other than that, it ranks it as one of the better films for this month. Again, so that makes it 5 out of 10. It's a 50% literally on the mark between good and bad. The ending is such a massive issue for me. That's where it sits. Number 4 for March is Game Night. Now, this is a film I loved. I loved Game Night. Basically, it's a comedy about these group of friends, 4 friends, who get together to play games pretty much either weekly or monthly. I can't remember. I can't remember how often they do it. But they get together to play games, and they're very competitive people. Well, 2 of them are. They love the games, and the other ones have got... Well, there's a dopey one who's actually got some general knowledge skills, but that's only gets revealed later on in the film. And there's another one who likes to kind of... He's just a black friend, if that makes any sense. And they make jokes about that, so that's okay, really, in regards to the context of the story. And they're all just close friends who get together to play games. And then one day, one of the main character's brothers comes to play with them, and he decides to escalate the game by having a murder mystery night. And unknowing to them is that there's a real murder taking place, kind of thing, and they're all being wrapped into this board game club when a real game is taking place. I don't want to go more into it, only that it's got some great comedy moments. There were some genuine times when I was actually laughing out loud, and believe it or not, in a cinema that is very rare. I rarely laugh out loud in a film, and this film had me laughing. It had the same kind of vein as watching Clue or Murder by Death. It's not a parody, it's just a proper decent comedy, but it has the same kind of vibe as that. And I want to, if you're a big fan of those kind of films and just your general, remember those kind of 80s and 90s comedies with John Hughes and John Candy and Steve Martin. This is the kind of atmosphere that this film creates, and I really think people will enjoy it if they check it out. I will say, there are a couple of moments when the film that I was squirming because they were talking about pregnancy, how one of them couldn't get pregnant, and then they go a little bit vulgar. But that's near the beginning, so it might put you off. But if you trust me, bear through that one scene, and it's not that it's not funny. It's the wrong type of comedy for the rest of the film. So that if you can forgive that one scene, trust me, the rest of the film is almost family friendly in its comediness, and you could watch it with your grandmother. It's the kind of thing I'm trying to say. So that one ranks as number 4. Number 3 is Pacific Rim Uprising. This is a film I saw 2 days ago, and it's the sequel to the massive Pacific Rim film by Guillermo del Toro. This one stars John Ferreira. I can't pronounce these names, and I'll try and pronounce them for the future episodes. But yeah, basically it's your giant robots versus more giant robots versus more giant little robots versus the big monsters, the kaiju. The film is really carried by its main star. He basically... Finn from Star Wars, I can't even pronounce his name. But he basically, his character is what saves this film. And when he's not on screen, you're either hoping for a robot fight, or you want to go back to him, because quite frankly, there's these group of kids, these young pilots who are just annoying. You just want to strangle them. And unfortunately, for some strange reason, there's a lack of pilots. Which makes no sense, because they've already designed 40 or 60, we don't know how many automated robots, which we know have cockpits because of the kaiju are inside of them, so they must be capable of holding human pilots, even though they don't need to because they're drones. But then they go through this whole opening sequence where the human population have been making their own robots. And they bring out the proper robots to take out the pedestrian ones. And they show these entire yards of robots which have been decommissioned. So at the end of the film, when they're short of robots, why do they not suddenly ask the public, look, the kaiju are back, we need all the robots that are out there, come and join us. And I'm sure they'd have 100 robots literally come and help the fight. And they even bring Scrapper out. Now Scrapper was one of the young robots from the small robots from the beginning of the film, and he finally comes out at the end of the film, but he comes out too late. It's like, why would nobody bring... When they had this moment where they were looking for robots and they were short-handed, why did they not get Scrapper out? Yes, they could put guns on him if they wanted to, but he was a distraction. There's things he could have done with a decent pilot, and he even proved that because he took out one of the big robots, sort of. So why was Scrapper held back until the end when they needed him for the fight? So, yes, it's got its problems. Yes, anybody other than the main actor really lets the film down. The girl who's able to construct her own mech, you wanted her to go back to that. They were training her up to be a pilot, which seemed to be a waste of her skills. She had the ability to make her own mech robot, which she could operate by herself. That, in theory, is more impressive than the other big robots that require 2 or 3 people to operate. If she has invented a technique to do it by herself, put her in the engineering seat, get her building these things. But the fact that this 12-year-old girl, I think she was 12, built her own giant Jaeger robot is stupid in itself. And, you know, unfortunately, you have to bite through those moments. But after that, the fighting scenes are phenomenal. There is a plot, as bad as it is, starring the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's one of the characters. I won't say much more than that if you've not seen it. And basically, he has the scene where all these little robots come out and do. You're expecting a big fight between lots of little robots, and it does change into just one big robot, one big monster kaiju. I'm trying not to give it too much. I'm guessing by this point you've realised I don't care about spoilers, and if you're watching this, you're going to know you're going to get spoilers. Whenever I want to tell them. But I'm still going to hold back just in case, because this is a film worth watching for the massive fighting sequences. Because if you saw the old Power Rangers film that came out last year, that was missing everything that was needed to make it a Power Ranger film, and this is basically the answer to that. This is the special effects are phenomenal, and for that reason alone it ranks as number 3 of the best film, my 3rd favourite film of this month. It was an enjoyable experience. I will watch it several more times before it finishes its run, and it's one I highly recommend you check out. Number 2 was Tomb Raider. Now, Tomb Raider was one I have reviewed, and I know the lighting was a bit of an issue, but Tomb Raider ranks as one of the best game adaptations I have ever seen. It basically has everything that it needs to be a very high quality adventure film with Lara Croft doing what she does. it doesn't excuse several of the major plot flaws. The first of which is the boat. Now, when they go to go let Leo's boat, Leo originally took Lara Croft's father to the island, and he got killed there. So the boat that they were on, which they went when Lara went to look for, should still be at the island. It should have been destroyed in the rocks. There's no way that boat could have got back to the mainland. So there's no way the captain's son could be living on that boat, and there's no way Lara could have found it. The boat was destroyed, and the captain and the other crew member were all on the island being held prisoner. We saw the whole scenes of them doing all the digging and moving the rocks. That boat should not have magically made its way back. The battery on the video camera should not have lasted 7 years. The mechanisms which they were doing on the tunnels and opening the door should not still be working after 1,000 years. And then the certain traps, like the colour trap. Okay, you put blue and yellow stones together to get green, because green's the colour of life. I must have missed that lesson. It's the colour of plants, but then it's not really. That's the colour of stems. It's the colour of leaves. Are they really the colour of? Is that the colour of life? Did I miss this lesson? Where did green suddenly do that? And then you got to think about. Wait a minute. They are underground. They are quite a lot. We don't know how far deep, but they are deep underground, where there's no light whatsoever. They've had to put light sticks. They've not lit any fire torches. They've not done anything to produce any kind of light anywhere in that tunnel, in that room. So why was there a trap based on light underground? It makes zero sense. And then you start to wonder, well, wait a minute, there was no staircase leading down either. They had to upscale down into that tomb. So how did they get all the construction material to build an entire temple in there? And especially if the island is as unreachable as they all claim it was, how did the people get all the materials there to do it? And how did they leave it? It makes no sense. But I'm going to keep on moaning about it, because if you're going to put that aside, Lara Croft, Alicia, I can't pronounce her surname. She's married to Magneto. She's Michael Fassbender, and she does a great job at portraying Lara Croft. Yes, she should have broken her arm and leg when she fell off the parachute, and she should have hurt herself and had more injuries by the end of it. But she does a good enough job at making you believe in this character and pursuing her main goal and her character growth. And in general, it's just a pretty cool film. I do recommend watching it on the big screen, because there are some awe-inspiring moments when you see her trying to get through the plane and trying to on the waterfall. There's some good moments, and it's definitely worthy of number 2 on my list. Number 1, and this is the first thing I ever reviewed on this channel, and this is Ready Player One. Now, I had to go at this film on my initial review. Ready Player One is not without its faults. In fact, it has many. And I'm going to get a drink because just so you can hear me, because I want to go on a rant now. Ready Player One is nothing like the book. Let's begin there. You've probably seen the review, and I'm not going to say it's the greatest film in the world, because I was hoping for so much more, and they tried to rush a 15-hour story into a 2-hour movie, so 120 minutes, and they've missed out some massive moments, and they've changed things around unnecessarily. So it's not that they tried to improve things, but the change from book to visual medium, they've deliberately changed who goes into IOI at the end, with Artemis doing it rather than Parsable, and it ruins the character dynamic. They've added in characters like iRock, who added nothing. They've put in Shoto and Daitu, who really didn't need to be in the film. If you're going to take things out from the book that weren't necessary, take those out, because if you don't need 3 people to open up that last challenge, there's no point having them there. That was the reason they existed in the book, and it was just fan service, but even then it didn't do them justice, so it just ruined and dragged down the film. But having said that, Ready Player One was an enjoyable adventure. You get to go through this virtual world experience. The more times you watch it, the more things you will pick up, like RoboCop. I saw RoboCop in the lobby. He didn't have any part in the film. He was just walking through the lobby. There was RoboCop. It was only on screen for about 4 seconds, if that. But every single time you watch it, you will see somebody else in the background. Oh, look, there's Harley Quinn, there's Deadpool, there's Gandalf. You can start picking and choosing and playing the game of who is where in that film, and that makes it fun for repeat viewing. The second thing about it I disliked is more like the thing where they reach into the pocket and the DeLorean, or they've already got things like the DeLorean. Artemis already has Iron Giant in her garage. It gets to a point where none of the characters have had to earn any of the toys that they are supposed to have gathered up along the journey. In the book, they have to complete challenges in order to accumulate all the materials they need for the big fight. But in this film, they just seem to have it already. And again, I know they've got to condense the timing down, but I still miss that character growth and the character arcs that they all went on. Without those things in the film, it's just a little bit meh. So that's basically the first, that ranks as my number 1 best film of March. I do recommend it, it's worth watching. And that's basically the March top 10. So the list will be coming up somewhere on the side of the screen here. I'll move to the side so you can see it. So number 1, Ready Player One. Number 2 is Tomb Raider. Number 3 is Pacific Rim Uprising. Number 4 is Game Night. Number 5 is Annihilation. Number 6 is Red Sparrow. Number 7 is Mute. Number 8 is Peter Rabbit. Number 9 is A Wrinkle in Time. And number 10 for the stinker of the month is HotBot. That was March. I'm going to go through some other months now, and then I'm going to basically bring this series down to just 1 episode a month, just to recap all the films of the month. I might release individual reviews whenever I feel like it. And that's all I'm going to say about the schedule or the release date of any of the future videos. But once a month, I will release these top 10s, and it'll give you an idea of what films to catch up on, which are still playing in the cinema. Thanks for watching.